'Twas a short time ago, longer now than it seems, in a world perhaps you've seen on TV. For the cartoon that you are about to be shown was made in the Canadian worlds of old. I bet you're excited for what show is up next. If not, continue at your own behest. Gloom is a Canadian cartoon developed by Novella and first released on YTV. It was apparently based on clothing and became a well-loved show with a fan base that continues to this day. It stars Ruby, along with Misery, Iris, Doom Kitty, Poe, Skullboy, Frank, Len, Boo Boo, Scaredy Bat, and who could forget Mr. Buns. They all live in a big old house and each episode has its own misadventures. It's got a big fan base, me being one of them, and it's well worth watching. But which ones are the best? Well, I can't tell you that objectively, but I can give you my picks for the top 7 episodes of Ruby Gloom. Number 7. Yamween. 'Tis the season for yams, presents, and friendship. But what happens when the centerpiece is broken and keeps getting worse? I have a soft spot for Christmas-esque episodes. Okay, I have a soft spot for a lot of stuff, but still. I like how Ruby isn't perfect. She's absorbed in her list to try and make the perfect Yamween. Skullboy is the same, wanting people to enact the legend the exact way it's told, with no deviation. The Yamween chime breaks, and that's the main plotline through the episode. How everyone tries to fix it and fails, making them feel guilty because they think they ruined Yamween for Ruby. It's wonderful seeing how caring and considerate they are of each other, even when they get caught up in their own thing. Even when it's revealed at the end that Ruby was going to get rid of the old Yamween chime because it was in such poor condition, they're completely honest with her about it. They get a new one, and then they have a big old happy ending. This episode, despite not being quite Christmas, is very merry and a good watch every year. Number 6. Doom with a View. It's speculated that many animals can sense the spirits of the dead, but can Doom convince her friends that they are not alone? The adorableness is oozing from this episode. Doom is cute, Boo Boo is cute, even Frank and Len are cute. So much cute! I like the lights, I like how they're mobsters. I like Skullboy being the director in the aftershot. This episode is so easy to like. Cat baboos for life. I like Boo Boo's storyline, trying to become a real ghost, to his chagrin. And Doom's storyline just shows how much her friends care about her even when they don't believe her about Boo Boo, at least at first. I like how every time we meet the Whites, they are in a different area than they were before despite being in the same closet. It kinda reminds me of the Persona games, despite me never really playing them. But hey, I've heard of them. That's good enough, right? Number 5. Skull in the Family. Skullboy posts an ad in the paper to anyone who could possibly be a relative, and 2 potential candidates come a-knockin'. But are they really who they say they are? Right off the bat, Ma and Scarroy are great additions to the cast, even if they're only just for this episode. They work off the main cast very well, and we get some of the best lines from them.
They're helping you look?
Go to figure.
They are puzzled as to how these people can be so nice. Especially when Ma sneaks around, looking for their supposed reward, and runs into Frank and Len, who end up helping her look. I think the second half is my favourite part of the episode. Skullboy is just so genuine, being so welcoming to his new guests despite Misery insisting that they're not his family. Which she's right about, that fact is never hidden from the audience. He ends up giving them their reward, big old hug. And they have such a positive reaction that he's convinced that they're his family, only to have them reveal themselves as frauds. Skullboy ends up forgiving them, and they all have a dance and jig around the fire. I just adore this episode. It's so much fun, so many laughs. Gladly watch again. Number 4. Quadro Gloomier. Frank and Lan have writer's block when writing a song about their friends, so Ruby suggests that they go into the heads of the people they're writing about. Little did she know that they did that almost literally. My favourite thing about this episode is that it isn't creepy. None of the characters do anything intimate or what would normally be private, while Frank and Lan are in their heads for a joke. It's all kept innocent and focuses on our two rock boys learning more about their friends. It's really interesting to see how their friends would react in certain situations. And I like how Ruby is contributing to everyone's day, even without them knowing it. It shows how wonderful and kind she is. And that makes her one of my favourite characters behind Skullboy. It's funny and charming, and it's a good episode. Nothing else to say. Number 3. Unsung Hero. A female singer is needed for their band in time for Gloomapalooza. And that person is Misery. But can she do what is asked of her? I just love this one. The songs are cool, all the characters act as they would in the situations that they are placed in, and it contains a positive message about stage production. Just because you work behind the scenes doesn't mean you are any less a contributor to the audience's experience than the actual performers. I love that, it's so uplifting. Also, Sugar is crack confirmed, that will never not be funny. Number 2. Hairless The Musical. While I liked Glass Train to Gloomsville, there was really only one choice for this list. Skullboy is saddened. He wants to know who he is, and his friends help him out, or try to. He's still bummed out, so he decides to leave with Scully T into the big city, with his friends missing him dearly. This episode's one of the best. I love everything about it. The songs are top-notch, and the story is really good. The characters all act as they should. The heart is just so, I want to hug everybody. The ending did make me cry, though that's not hard. This episode is objectively the best, but it had to get beaten by the next episode on this list. Number 1. Name That Tune. Skullboy wants to make a movie with the help of his friends. He faces difficulties, which eventually leads him to make a cartoon based on Gloomsville and about his friends. This episode is amazing! I'm convinced this episode was made to subtly tell the grievances and origins of the creators of Ruby Gloom. Everything pertaining to the cartoon seems intentionally crafted to be an inside joke. I didn't recognize this until my adulthood, where I'm now practicing animation, which actually made me enjoy this episode more. Almost every joke lands and no scene is wasted on filler. First it starts out with Skullboy making a live action movie, but things go as you expect because, well, Poe runs out of flour and newspaper and turns into a mummy. Iris doesn't get the idea of a fierce beast and instead makes an adorable one. Scaredy isn't the best at effects. And Misery for catering, why didn't you pick Ruby, what the heck? Then he wants to animate his live action movie, which he realizes will take 3 years to make. All the jokes for the second part are gold. Literal gold. I want to put this in the bank and invest it. Be like, yep, we accept that completely. That is obviously literal gold. My favorite scene is where Skullboy needs his friends to voice lines for him, and then everyone messes it up. First, Iris wants to play Misery, then Misery wants to play Iris, and then Poe wants to play himself, but then gets all drenched up in the script trying to make it more like his. And Skull's cartoon at the end is so adorable. This episode is utterly, completely, and totally fantastic. And it kind of inspires me now. It's alongside the inspirations I currently have, like Gen Animations and other animators who I've grown to appreciate and admire. I would very much like to thank True Believers for editing. If you want to help me support him, please pledge on Patreon or Subscribestar or order a commission. Bye!